So cutting an onion is not particularly difficult, and depending on how experienced of a knife person you are, you may or may not be able to guess what's going on here. Wait for it. So I'm not a chef, and this is not a chef's knife, but the impressive thing here is that this isn't even a sharp knife. It's completely dull. This has not even been sharpened. That's the power of geometry. So it's finally my turn to talk about edge geometry. I saw the onion demo on Super Steel Steve's Instagram. I believe he's a chef, so he did a much better job of dicing the onion than I did. But I thought it was a perfect example of what geometry can do. And here's the same unsharpened knife cutting some pine. Now first off, my opening statement here is that blade geometry, specifically thickness behind the edge, is the single most important aspect as to what makes a knife cut well. Thin things pass through other things easier than thick things. So let me show you what I had to do for geometry like this. So I have my Manix 2 here in S110V steel. This has been sharpened who knows how many times, experimenting with sharpening techniques and different stones and whatnot, and it's gotten to the point of needing some serious attention. Right now we're looking at about 30 thousandths behind the edge, which is way too much in my opinion. We need to thin this out significantly. Edge geometry and thickness behind the edge is more important than apex sharpness, steel type, and heat treatment. So let me adjust this knife, fix it, and show you what I'm talking about. This is a fresh 80 grit. This is a full flat ground knife, and essentially what I'm doing here is thinning out the entire grind. I'm doing this with an 80 grit ceramic belt, mainly because that's all I had on hand. If I had a 60 grit, that would have been a much better choice. I did have some 36 grit belts, but I found that when grinding ultra thin blades, 36 grit is slightly too coarse. The scratches a 36 grit belt leaves behind can almost be impossible to remove when grinding to 8 thousandths behind the edge, which is what we're aiming for. Essentially, you'll end up thinning the edge out too much, chasing those 36 grit scratches. Thinning the primary grind down to 8 thousandths behind the edge is not easy and very time consuming, especially with a steel like S110V, which is very abrasion resistant due to the carbide volume within the steel. Also, the thinner you go, the more careful you have to be. An 8 thousandths primary bevel will heat up in a nanosecond, so many passes and water dips are necessary. To give you an idea of the time involved, thinning this blade took me about 2 hours. You could probably cut that time in half with a cool mist and wet grind the blade, but I just didn't feel like setting mine up. And the time involved is also why you don't see blades that are super thin from any of the major manufacturers, mainly because the general public Joe knife buying guy could care less about geometry, even though geometry is actually one of the most important things. Alright, so we're sitting at about 8 thousandths behind the edge. With thinner behind the edge geometry, sharpening is an absolute breeze. It only took me 5 minutes exactly to put a completely new secondary bevel on this S110V knife. I was going to include the real-time sharpening process with this knife, but decided if you wanted to see a real-time sharpening video, it would be better left to a separate video. So let me know in the comments below if you're interested in a real-time, no-cut sharpening video. So how thin is too thin? As you can see, we have a problem. This knife wasn't chippy before. In any way, shape, or form, I've never had this blade chip. This was sharpened at pretty much the exact same angle that it was at 30 thousandths as it is at 8 thousandths. Now all of a sudden, we have chipping issues. So what caused these chipping issues? To give you an idea as a comparison, a standard disposable carpet blade, which is slightly thinner than a regular utility blade, is about 16 thousandths thick. So 8 thousandths is sort of stupid thin. How stupid thin, you may ask? Well, a standard piece of printer paper is 4 thousandths thick. 2 of them being 8 thousandths. So that's pretty stupid thin. Now, I didn't have any problems with chipping on this blade until I significantly thinned the primary bevel. And I've used this knife hundreds and hundreds of times doing all kinds of things. Zero chipping. So why does an apex tend to be more chippy with thinner geometry, even if the apex angle is exactly the same? Why do we lose apex strength with thinness? Shouldn't apex strength be exactly the same regardless of blade thickness? The answer is no, and it's not super intuitive as to why, so let me show you. Okay, so let me see if I can explain this as quickly and as simply as possible. Bear with me because I'm not an artist. So here's our thin geometry, our thin blade. This is, let's just say that this is our 8 thousandths. This is 30. This knife didn't chip, had zero chipping issues at 30 thousandths, and all of a sudden we take this thickness here, or technically it'd be right behind the edge, but I'll show you why I'm drawing the arrows down here in a second. And we have 30 thousandths. Now our break occurred right here where our secondary bevel meets our primary bevel. That'll be represented by this dotted line. Now on this knife, because we have a longer secondary bevel due to the larger thickness, our break would occur, all things being equal, a break would have occurred up here. And then this line will just represent sort of where it chipped out, right? Now, I was originally thinking that this thickness here wouldn't make any difference to apex stability because this angle here and this angle here are exactly the same. So if a knife ended up chipping at this distance here from the apex, represented by this little dashed line here, then the same thing should happen here because everything else is equal, right? We have same angle, but this one chips and this one doesn't. Why is that the case? The reason that this one doesn't chip and this one does is because right here where our break occurred, right here, we have all of this supporting material underneath of it, right? So here on the 8 thousandths thick blade, we have no material here, no material supporting this apex. So this corner and this corner is where that apex is going to tend to break off on this thinner material. Whereas on this thicker blade, we have all of this material helping to support this very fine apex, and it doesn't break here. It would be more inclined to break down here, and because this is a much thicker piece of steel, we don't get any chipping associated with the thicker geometry. This is probably a really terrible explanation, but hopefully you understood this and got something from it, but this is the best I can do. I feel like we need a real-life visual for this. This is actually done to scale as well. This is 8 thousandths behind the edge, and this is 30 thousandths behind the edge. This is exactly how much thicker 30 thousandths is compared to 8 thousandths. If we apply the same amount of force to each apex, each triangle, which one is easier, or which one would be easier to break? The small one, which I can simply lift off the table with my finger, or this one, which takes a whole lot more force and it doesn't even I literally probably couldn't get it to lift off the table if I wanted to. So you have to think of this sitting on top of here. This is your 8/1000 secondary bevel. This is your apex. Very little force is required to break that apex off. Now, let's think of this larger apex. I don't have a piece that's wide enough for it. So this would be the 30/1000, and it would require a whole lot more force in order to get this apex to break. And that's why thinner geometry is weaker than thicker geometry. So there's more than this than I'm going to go over in this video, such as stress risers and whatnot. But the idea remains the same. Thinner behind the edge geometry equals less apex stability. Thinner geometry cuts better, but only to a point, the point at which apex stability fails during a cutting task. So again, as I've said before in other videos, the knife, geometry, steel, heat treatment, and apex angle has to meet the demands of the cutting task. So in other words, don't baton with a chef knife. Geometry is what controls the end use of the knife. A knife is just a bar of steel, in a sense, and the thinner the bar of steel becomes, the more knife-like it becomes, and the better it cuts. However, geometry is just one piece of the overall knife puzzle. It may be the largest piece, but it's definitely not the only piece, seeing as how heat treatment and steel type help keep the overall geometry in a more knife-like shape. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Really helps out the channel, and we'll see you in our next video.
Yep.